Just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right, you know? It's... offence is about feelings, and feelings are personal. Some people are offended by equality. So what? You know, so you can't second-guess people. If you try and please everyone, you're...
Ricky isn't holding back when it comes to Hollywood's political scene. He's confronted some of the biggest celebrities and called them out directly. This British-American comedian and actor has been speaking out recently, sharing his views on woke Hollywood. More importantly, Ricky has a strong dislike for Hollywood celebrities and influencers who push their woke beliefs and get involved in politics. Just watch how he mocks Hollywood's woke influencers, ridiculing their actions with no hesitation.
Wellness and beauty influencer. As a celebrity, I know all about stuff, like science and politics. So trust me when I tell you who you should vote for. If you don't vote the right way, it's like a hate crime. It makes me sad and angry, and I'll leave the country.
In less than 30 seconds, Ricky humorously pretends to be a Hollywood celebrity to poke fun at their habit of sharing political views with their fans. While the clip seems harmless and funny, Ricky's message is much more critical. He harshly calls out these celebrities for their ignorance and manipulation. To show he doesn't care about public opinion, he even mentions Taylor Swift as an example. This kind of criticism isn't new. It's a consistent theme in his speeches, like at the Golden Globes, where he slammed celebrities for their lack of real-world understanding and political insight. Ricky has remained firm in his critique, advising celebrities to stick to entertainment. As a comedian, he cleverly uses humor to highlight the flaws in woke culture.
You can get sued in this country for saying someone's gay if they're not, you know, which is a homophobic law, because you can't be sued the other way around. You can't be sued for saying someone's not gay if they are, which seems unfair, doesn't it?
Despite his bold comments and sharp criticism of woke culture, Ricky often faces a lot of backlash, including outrage over some of his statements on his shows. However, he remains completely unaffected by the criticism.
Nature dropped on Netflix last year. Big backlash, wasn't there? Big backlash. People going, you can't say that. You can.
Controversy started when Ricky dead-named Caitlyn Jenner, a well-known transgender figure. In the woke community, dead-naming refers to using someone's name from before they transitioned, which is seen as unacceptable. Ricky subtly shares his strong opinions on this issue, making his stance clear without holding back.
The crime was that I dead-named her. Now, I'd never heard that term, before a day after the Golden Globes, and that was saying her old name, and even acknowledging that she used to be a man. But she did. I saw it on the Olympic Games. It was the Catholic, it was in everything. It was all over.
Ricky seems baffled as he jokes about the situation, pointing out how woke individuals seem set on erasing someone's entire identity just to promote their beliefs. This is especially absurd when you consider that Bruce Jenner was known by that name for 58 years, and despite Caitlyn Jenner's transition, Bruce's existence can't be erased. What makes Ricky particularly interesting is his clever use of sarcasm to criticize woke culture and highlight its flaws. In this case, he takes aim at woke people for their virtue signaling.
A fascist. We assumed. You wouldn't go up to someone on the street and do that, would you? You go to, oh, by the way, I'm not a fascist. It's like they protest too.
Woke individuals often portray themselves as defenders of minorities, using this stance to show off their moral superiority. However, it seems they actually exploit minorities to make their own opinions seem more important. The situation becomes even worse when anyone questions these views. They are quickly silenced and insulted by woke advocates. Ricky strongly dislikes this reaction, where disagreement is met with offense and aggression.
I mean, unbelievable. Apple, Amazon, Disney. If ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything.
If you're wondering just how extreme woke people have become in their sensitivity to others' issues, Ricky offers an interesting example in this story.
Right, I've put on £7 and a picture of me with a big belly. Do your worst. Insult me, right? People said, you shouldn't fat shame. What, me? I shouldn't fat shame me. Right, okay, my bad.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous what people get up.
Ricky describes woke people as completely ridiculous, pointing out how they seem to actively search for things to be offended by, just so they can express their outrage. He's in disbelief that they go to such lengths to find offense. But Ricky isn't done with this topic. He has more to say.
That is like, you might as well go and read toilet walls to get upset about them. I have never been upset by anyone on Twitter. No one has ever upset. They don't exist. It's like me, honestly, they think they could, I'm too happy.
Ricky points out that he doesn't get offended by comments on Twitter. This raises an interesting question. Does it mean that those in the woke community who seem easily offended might be unhappy, and that's why they react so angrily to everything? Among all the subtle criticisms Ricky has made about woke people and woke culture, this particular point stands out the most.
You're more offended. I once tweeted, people are more offended by jokes about war, famine, fucking murder than actual war. But they're not doing anything towards those. They shouldn't joke about it. What are you doing towards the real thing?
Ricky asks a question that directly challenges those in the woke community, but it goes unanswered. He argues that many woke individuals only pretend to care about social issues by getting offended, but if they truly cared, they would take real action, like donating to victims of war, rather than just criticizing others' comments. While Ricky does set standards for what's acceptable, he also expresses concern about the rise of woke publications. He believes it's essential for comedians to focus on their craft, not get distracted by outside pressures.
Bridge comedians writing for the posh papers, telling you the rules of comedy. They're laying down the law, right? It's all stuff like, comedy should punch up. You should never punch.
Comedians have always had the freedom to joke about anything, but with the rise of woke culture, many are now trying to control what comedy should look like. Ricky clearly doesn't like this intrusion. Watch how he skillfully challenges those who try to regulate what comedians can say.
You've got to punch down. Like, if you're beating up a disabled toddler. If you punch up, you'll miss the little cunt and he'll win.
It might seem funny, like just another joke, but Ricky isn't done yet.
He likes the difference between metaphorical punching down in jokes and actual punching down. But people nowadays want you to believe that words are actual violence, right? Now, you laughed at a joke about beating up a disabled toddler. No one got hurt. If I'd have actually dragged out a disabled toddler and started beating him up, you would laugh.
For joke, Ricky calls out people who embrace woke culture once again, stressing that talking about a bad act isn't the same as actually committing it. This ties back to his earlier point that being offended doesn't automatically make someone right. Ricky argues that many woke individuals view jokes about sensitive topics as actual violence, and he strongly disagrees with this. But Ricky isn't alone in Hollywood. Rob Schneider, another well-known star, has also spoken out, expressing his concern over the recent rise of woke trends in schools.
Last month, the CEO, he announced of all the hiring for all the new pilots that are coming up this year, the main focus is going to be diversity. I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of flying all the time with these white pilots landing safely and on time.
This concerning trend is linked to the growing push for woke culture, which is limiting people's ability to express differing opinions. If such policies are adopted in schools, they may teach younger generations to keep quiet instead of speaking up. Ricky often speaks out against this, but you don't have to just take my word for it. Look at how Steve Carell responded.
You know me as the creator of The Office? No, you don't, do you? You think Steve Carell did it all? Oh, he's brilliant, isn't he, Steve Carell? He's amazing as the bumbling office manager. Where does he get his ideas from? Let's hang.